Welcome, everybody, into the brand new year 2024. And with that, we have a variety of new TV and movie projects coming out. And we're all going to be talking about what we're looking forward to the most. These things might not be the best things of the year, these things might be the worst things of the year. But either way, these are my 10 most anticipated projects in 2024 for TVs and movie. If you give me your list down below, I'll give you a like. Tell me what you're looking forward to the most, and tell me what things we match up on. But without further ado, let's start this list off. Number 10 is The Trader Season 2. This actually comes out in a week or two right now on Peacock. I didn't really ever watch Trader Seasons 1, but I know it was a pretty well received show, and NBC is going all out with their cast here of reality TV stars, especially reality contestants on popular shows like Big Brother, The Challenge, Survivor. I know there's some Real Housewives in here as well, if you like that. But nothing has my anticipation more for this season than the two people you see on the very end of the screen, and that's Parvati Shallow and Sandra Diaz Twine. For those of you who may not know about these two, they're both winners of Survivor. They're both people who played on one of the best Survivor seasons against each other, heroes versus villains, where they made it to the very end. There's a very natural rivalry between these two, and to see them be able to get that on a different type of show and to know that we're going to get it probably off the bat in at least the first episode or two makes me so excited to see this. I'm not really even sure how the traders work fully. Like I said, I didn't watch season one that much, but I'm a big fan of Survivor. Things like The Amazing Race and Big Brother I've come to enjoy. The challenge I can deal with a little bit, but this has, like I said, some of the biggest stars in a lot of these categories, whether it's Johnny Bananas and CT from the challenge. You have Janelle and Dan Giesling from Big Brother. And like I said, we have two of the greatest Survivor players of all time in Sandra Diaz Twine, Parvati Shallow. So I might not have a Peacock subscription yet, but there's a very high chance that come next week I'll have one so I can watch the show and take it in. And hopefully it'll be as good as what I heard season one was, where Sari Fields, an ex Survivor player, dominated and was able to take home the $250,000. I don't know what it'll be like here, but I'm hoping it's exciting, as backstabby, and as um, drama making as we see with other shows overall, and a lot more social strategy based than you see with Big Brother and Survivor these last few years. But moving on to my ninth most anticipated project, Inside Out 2. I love the first Inside Out. Joy, sadness, anger, disgust, fear, great emotions. I think it's a really great concept. It was Pixar at its best. And even though I'm kind of sad that we're doing a sequel in Pixar, I know more of their original projects like Elemental haven't hit as well. This is a world and a group I'm loving to come back to. The idea that we're going to explore Riley and her emotions as she goes and matures in life. I think puberty was the thing that was going off during the trailer, and seeing these other emotions. We've seen anxiety already in the trailer. I have big hopes for this movie. The first one was one of my favorite Pixar movies of all time. I think the odds of this is another great Pixar movie, I think, are very high, and I'm looking very forward to this. It's probably one of my, obviously number nine is it's my ninth biggest anticipated release of the year, and I wouldn't be surprised if it somehow makes my top 10 for the year if it's able to deliver like the first Inside Out did. Number eight, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And I'll be honest, there's two things that sold me on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and making it so anticipated, and it's both these shots. Seeing Paul Rudd and that family crew just get excited, and seeing Paul Rudd just living out that fantasy happy-go-lucky character that I think he plays and nails so well, easily the top thing. And second thing was at the bottom here, whatever this ghost is going to be, this seems like a very unique concept, a very different concept for Ghostbusters. And that kind of excites me with this theory and where this movie is going. I don't know if this movie will be any good. I don't know if it's going to even be cracking the top 20 of my list for 2024. But for movies that I know coming out, this is the trailer that makes me happy and makes me really want to know what creative juices have they done at Sony in this new Ghostbusters franchise. And I just love seeing Paul Rudd on screen being happy-go-lucky teacher, you know, happy man. It's what he does best, and I can't wait to see exactly where this movie goes villain wise. And like I said, I'm really hopeful whatever this frozen ghost type villain is lives up to the beautiful shot we got in the trailer because it got me super anticipated and enough to make it number 8 for 2024 to start the year. Number 7, Fallout coming to Amazon Prime in April. Now, I'm a gamer myself, but I've never played any of the Fallout games. Why, though, does this make my top 10 list in terms of anticipated projects? A couple things. Bethesda is the company that made the Fallout series, and I've played enough Skyrim and other Bethesda games to know that they know how to make very interesting, complex stories, and they're able to make very unique, amazing worlds. And when I saw the trailer for Fallout, even though there's so much post-apocalyptic type world, whether it's The Last of Us, Walking Dead and stuff, the Fallout trailer really made me feel like we're in a different world I haven't explored ever in movie and TV, or at least not recently. The cast is very loaded. I love Ella Purnell as we see her with the 33 on the left being the lead, but some of these other characters that we're seeing on this other picture, I just think it looks unique. I think it looks fun. I think Amazon Prime put the money into this to make this look good, and I just have high hopes that it's going to be. I know it's very, the people who worked on Fallout are also producing the show in some capacity. It's not just a Amazon buying the product and they making it their own. It's very much a joint effort between the video game developers who made the story originally and Amazon Studios themselves. So I have high hopes for this series to be kind of a sleeper breakout hit of the year. And I'm looking so forward to going into this new world and seeing exactly how it plays out on screen. And like I said, I'd never played these games before. I don't really know the ins and outs, but I just know Bethesda as a company world builds like no other gaming company out there when it comes to their wide games. And if this does well, maybe we'll get an Elder Scrolls series, a Skyrim type series at some point. Because for anybody who loves Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, and that type of properties, if we can get an Elder Scrolls series done properly and right, it would be gold and it would make so many people happy. But Fallout just has my excitement because of that. The sci-fi, even the period piece feel to it. Everything feels unique, and that's why it's number 7. Look at it for it on April 12th when it debuts on Prime. I think it's going to be a sleeper hit. I think it's going to make a lot of people happy. Number 6, A24 Civil War. And for those that don't know what this really is about, it's pretty much taking the idea of how polar and dividing our country is at the moment, and the script is pushing it to the point to where we're actually in a civil war in the modern day United States. And A24 is a movie company that, for me, delivers a lot of great movies. Not all of them are as good as Everything Everywhere All at Once, but this movie gives me the feel that it could very much be like that or that type of quality. I think it's going to have a little bit more broad appeal overall too. I don't think it's going to be as wacky or as tough to follow as Everything Everywhere All at Once. But the trailer, I've seen it a few times now in theaters. It interests me. It has a really, really solid cast. I think that it's going to be just a dividing movie because I'm sure there's a lot of people politically that don't want to see a movie talked about like this. But I think it's topical in society today. And I think with the acting crew behind it and A24 at the helm, this could be a very big sleeper hit and a chance at an Oscar movie coming out early for 2024 for the next year's Oscar. And if those of you who like Priscilla, I think Kaylee Spaney is one of the starring actresses in this movie. So just look out for this in the spring. I think it looks really great. I have really big faith with A24. And when I think of movie projects that have come out that I think that are going to be, that I've seen trailers and heard about that I think are going to be contenders for my best movie of the year, Civil War is up there near the top of that list. Moving to number 5, Furiosa Mad Max Saga. I never saw the trailer when it hit online because I wanted my trailer experience to be in theaters, and it did not disappoint. I want to say the Furiosa trailer came up during the color purple. It might have been Ferrari for me, but Anya Taylor Joy is one of my favorite actresses in the world. I loved her in The Menu. I love her in so many other movies that she's done. The Witch. She has such a great range of acting skills, comedy, drama. I just feel like she has like facial expressions down. Chris Hemsworth, again, I love him as Thor. I love him in other projects he's in. The first Mad Max movie, Mad Max Fury Road, was such a visually impressive and such an amazing movie. With Tom Hardy at the helm. So even though there's a more prequel movie, it has it's being directed by Chris Miller, the individual who directed Mad Max Fury Road. The trailer lives up to that world, that lives up to that visual world. Something and something that you is only like he's able to present that well. You see it in a couple of these images I brought out here. I just think this movie is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm pretty sure it comes out in May. The two leads have me sold. This world from the previous movie has me sold. The direction has me sold from the previous movie. I think this is a movie that we're all going to be ready for and wanting to see. We know how good Fury Road was. We know how good the lead is in this movie with Anya Taylor Joy. And we know it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be something you want to see in IMAX. So if you aren't near an IMAX, maybe find a way to get to one for this movie because this is probably going to be my top IMAX experience movie of the year. Fury Road was amazing. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, is looking to be right up there in that amazing world category, and I cannot wait for it theaters this year. Number four, The Boys season 4. Season 3 ended on such, I feel like, a great moment. I know we had Soldier Boy, and for those of you who haven't seen season 3, I won't spoil too much, but that whole storyline goes through, and the way Homelander ends season 3 is such a chilling, but also such an earned way, I feel, with how good The Boys is written. Yes, it definitely, is a show that does have political talk, leanings and messages in it. I feel like it does a good job attacking all sides and then really criticizing all sides for hypocrisy. But Butcher versus Homelander is just such a great rivalry, and the way it's written every year to get more complex to each character. Both of them are kind of villains, and both of them, I won't say heroes, because Homelander is definitely not a hero, but they're both such interesting, complex characters that you can't help but enjoy them and see them around. But also things like Huey, Starlight, Mother's Milk, Kimiko, Frenchie. Like this cast is loaded. The Deep is hilarious. A Train is funny. Maeve is always great. I think The Boys season 4 has the potential of just being an all time great TV season. I think Boys season 3 was already an all time great TV season, but it didn't kick off as much as I thought it should have. If you haven't seen The Boys yet, give it a watch on Amazon Prime. Watch it from beginning to season 3. I think it hits at all levels, and each season it gets better and better. And I have nothing but like high anticipation to see where this story goes here. I don't think it's the last season yet, but it might be the penultimate season. And there is no better villain in the world today than Homeland. He has just enough complexity to his character that makes you want to learn more about him, but he is straight up the most despisable, charismatic villain out there that does not really care anymore potentially about what people think, or he does very much care about what people think. That's kind of his weakness, but he's learning that people love him for what he does, and if they, that they may be willing to accept him for being the horrible human piece of, you know, um, project that he is in that world. But again, if you haven't seen The Boys, give it a watch. Be ready for season 4 when it comes out this year because this I think is going to be one of the most talked about seasons of TV this year. And I know there's things like House of the Dragon season 2 potentially coming out, True Detective coming out as well soon on HBO coming back. But The Boys season 4 to me is what I think about when I think about anticipated TV shows. Now, sticking to superheroes, Deadpool 3 is number 3 on my list for anticipated projects simply because the two people we see in this picture, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. I think their chemistry has always been amazing. Their chemistry has always been great, but the fact that we're now going to see Hugh Jackman fully play Wolverine this next to Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, I think is going to be such an entertaining and creative flow and just a funny movie that's going to deliver great action. It's going to deliver great camera shots. It's going to deliver great moments. I think the minute everybody heard that their Deadpool 3 is not only going to be made, but that Hugh Jackman, that again, amazing Ryan Reynolds marketing announcement. This movie to me is just sold because of that. And seeing Hugh Jackman actually putting on the classic yellow Wolverine costume, it's funny, but we're there for it. And Ryan Reynolds as a whole knows the Deadpool character so well, and he's able to really hit that and knows the balance between the adult humor, the over the top kind of somewhat gory type feel, the R rating, while also making a movie that has a point that is actually progressing characters and growing them and making you go more than just there for laughing. It's why Deadpool 2 was so good. It's why Deadpool 1 is an instant classic you can put on almost anybody of age will like and enjoy that movie. And this so Deadpool 3, I don't know when it'll come out, if it'll come out in summer because of the strikes, if it'll be a little bit later, but when it comes out in 2024, I will be there opening night to watch it because I think it's going to be a popcorn filled blast. And if somehow this movie gets ruined by the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel Studios, my heart will sink very very hard because this should be a slam dunk easy project like No Way Home was, and I think I think it's going to be a treat, and that's why again because it's such an easy slam dunk project. It's why it's number three for me for anticipated movies of 2024, anticipated shows of 2020. Now, my most anticipated TV show coming back is Arcane season two. This is going to come in November. We heard. We haven't really got any looks at anything. Just this red images was kind of what the trailer that they announced on Netflix last fall. But Arcane season one, if you haven't seen it, was such a groundbreakingly great animated show that was really adult in theme. I've heard a lot of people kind of compare it to original Game of Thrones with its character complexion, with the story complexion, and how it's able to handle all these things. I think it ended off in a very, very, everybody wants to know what happened at the after the end of it, and I have high faith with 3 years of waiting. We're not only going to get the beautiful animation back, but the story and everything around it is going to be pretty well done. I imagine there's a lot of secrets out there that everybody is waiting to know in terms of casting and where the story goes. Haley Steinfeld and Ella Purnell are the two big leads of it, playing the sisters, Vi and Jinx or Powder. Again, if you haven't seen season one yet, it's on Netflix. Do yourself a favor. It's 9 episodes long, and I haven't had a single person I recommended it to that didn't at least enjoy it. Some people will love it and say it's one of their best projects ever. Some other people will say, you know what? I wasn't expecting it to be that good, but I had a good time with it. I think Arcane season two, if it's able to be able, to grow on season one in terms of quality and in terms of people watching it, this has a chance to be the big sleeper fall hit for Netflix. And it's up there for me. The animation, the score, the characters. I have ties to the characters because I do play the game. But so many people I know who have no connection to the game love the show and they're waiting for the show. And the fact that we're finally getting it back after 3 years is just puts up in that anticipated level for me. It's finally coming. They finally have finished it, and we're gonna get season two come November of 2024. And it's my top anticipated TV show, which means my number one overall anticipated project is a movie, and it's The Zone of Interest. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this movie. It's an A24 movie that was made in, I think, the UK. It I read the synopsis before making the video because I haven't even heard the synopsis much yet. But it's taking the family of a Auschwitz commander and them trying to live a very normal life next to the what we all know is one of the biggest tragedies of the world with Auschwitz. And the things I've heard about this movie without spoilers is just that it is breathtakingly deep and dark in some ways, and is not afraid to take a very real life sad and depressing elements and deliver it on screen in a way that we necessarily might not expect. I've heard the acting is amazing. I've heard the script is amazing. The sound effects and the direction. I heard is very amazing. I People I know have put this as their top movie of the year, and most people I see online that have been able to watch a lot of movies have this in like their top five, in their top three, in their top two. It hasn't hit theaters yet for me in Boise, and while I know this isn't going to be a movie that will be contending for the Oscars next year, it's going to be a movie this year, and it might not win this year's Oscar because you have Oppenheimer, you have Poor Things, you even have Barbie in there a bit, kind of fighting things over. But this movie has been given so much hype by people that I respect as critics in terms of the quality of the movie, in terms of the things I love about movies, taking challenging ideas and being able to execute them, and taking risks and using different elements of cinema outside of just visuals and to tell a story. I am looking so forward to when this finally hits theaters here. It is easily my number one most anticipated project that I get to see in 2024. I'm so upset that I wasn't able to do it for the Oscars this year, but just know this movie has a chance of winning the Oscars in 2024, 364 days from now. But I just can't wait to see this in theaters. I don't know what it's going to be like. Maybe I'm hyping myself up too much, but I don't really know much about next year's Oscars contenders yet. But I do know this year's is an Oscar contender. So many people are loving this movie as and with it being a foreign film, it's not going to get the love it probably deserves overall. That's very tough for films to do. Parasite was a little bit of a outside darling child, and but again, because I heard so many good things about this movie, because it challenges things, and that's what I love the most about films is when they go outside the norm and they challenge things and do things a little bit differently. That's why Zone of Interest is my number one anticipated project that I get to see this year. Tell me yours down below. If you like this content, like and subscribe. I hopefully made the audio better here. It wasn't that great last time. I'll definitely put the chapters in here as well, but you've seen that at the end of the movie. But check back in. We're going to be talking about the Golden Globes, doing a stream with that later this weekend. And I'll even do my predictions coming on, I believe, Friday that I'll release. But until next time, enjoy the world of movies and TVs, and let it be a good year because we had a great 2023. Let 2024 be good too.